Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And in this one, I wanted to talk about what 8 Thoughts basically was talking about in a video that he made not too long ago. And I originally wanted to make this video sooner, but you know how it goes. Sometimes things get in the way. But anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. And first and foremost, I have a little bit of music in the background to suffice, hopefully, to suffice for the lack of gameplay sound in this, because I am playing on PlayStation. So I mean, I obviously still have footage from Xbox, but you guys know how it is. Sometimes I just like to post the more recent footage, and then I could always go back to Xbox or whatnot and just get the footage from there or whatnot. But anyway, on to the subject. So 8 Thoughts was talking about, he was basically looking at Vahn's tweets and stuff like that, and he's kind of reading between the lines, and there's a possibility, I mean, we can't really cancel this out yet, but there is a possibility that Black Ops 4 could be Vahn's last Call of Duty game. He might quit after this, and Blackout could be his last gift to the Call of Duty community. I was discussing with a viewer and subscriber of mine. Shout out to Underdog. We played a few games. I was on Twitter yesterday asking if anybody wanted to play, and we played, and we would have played more, but I ended up getting way tired because I was up since 5 a.m. and it was like 1:30 by the time I called it quits. But shout out to him, good games. But we also mentioned briefly that there's gotta be something that's wrong within Treyarch as well. Like, if you judge Black Ops 4 and compare it to the other Call of Duties, it almost seems like there's a chunk of, it almost feels like there's a chunk of the Treyarch team that's missing, because a lot of people are like, well, there's no way the same Treyarch that developed Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 developed this game. There's just no way. A lot of people felt that, and even some of you guys in the comment section have said the exact same thing back like maybe a few months ago. I remember getting a few comments like that. So when you put everything together, well, who knows? Maybe Vahn is contractually obligated to stay until their full-on development and update of Blackout is complete, because as you guys know, they've mentioned since the Call of Duty reveal in May of Black Ops 4 that they mentioned that they want it to be the most replayable Call of Duty, and I think they were mainly referring to Blackout more than anything. So with that in mind, Blackout is a constant... It's a constant project. It's something that needs to be continuously updated and upgraded for the better and all that kind of stuff. So, and it is something new for them when you compare it to the regular Call of Duty that they're supposed to be focusing on. So, so when you compare the tweets with what 8 Thoughts said, and the fact that we feel like this isn't, quite frankly, this doesn't feel like a Treyarch Call of Duty game, at least not completely. And the fact that there is a possibility, and I've mentioned this obviously, is that something could be off. I mean, who knows? Maybe a whole bunch of Treyarch employees got laid off. I mean, you just never know what happens, you know, in between and behind the scenes. We're basically on the outside looking in, so we really just don't know. We're just speculating at this point, which is exactly what I'm doing here in this video, but it makes sense and it could be possible. So in the near future, or maybe in the distant future, we'll find out exactly what it is. But when we do find out, we can, you know, it'll either confirm or deny the speculation at this point. But with that being said, going into the main meat and potatoes of this video, if this is Vahn's last Call of Duty, first of all, I just want to say that I'm actually not mad. There's only one instant where I was mad at Vahn, and that's the way he kind of responded on Twitter. When he said, "Oh, no VSAT in the game. I'm sick and tired of hearing it," or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm sure every single one of you remember that exactly. So, now everybody has a bad day. I mean, if everybody keeps on getting pushed and everybody keeps getting their nerves toyed with here and there of something that sets them off, I mean, they can get pissed off. I mean, even at the wrong person sometimes. Sometimes it just takes a bad day or a whole bunch of bad days, and sometimes you just keep things bottled up until the wrong person just ends up, you know, ends up making the champagne bottle crack, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have an explosion, and yeah. That's why it's not healthy to keep things bottled up. But you never know. I mean, you never know really what goes on behind the scenes, and there could be reasons as to why sometimes Vahn might be angry or whatnot, and it might not even have anything to do with us constantly requesting something. At least not the source. who knows? Maybe there's a whole bunch of other things. Maybe he wanted to quit and was kind of, I don't know, to a certain degree, I don't know if the word forced is correctly, because I don't think they can do that unless you're contractually obligated beforehand. But the thing is, like, you never know. It could be a combination of things that are going on behind the scenes. And the thing is, we cannot forget that he gave us 3 great Black Ops games. Now, in terms of World at War, I don't know personally. I never experienced it for myself. Some people say World at War is one of the greats, one of the best ever. Some people say World at War was okay, and some people didn't like it that much. So I don't know. But I can say this. The man gave us 3 really good Call of Duty Black Ops games, and I can thank him for that. Like, in terms of what the community has requested, you know, the guy genuinely seemed to care and genuinely, like, tried to give the community what they want while simultaneously keeping the balance. And I can understand when you're kind of in a position to where you always want to be the nice guy, and you don't want to say no because you mean well in every single aspect and things like that. And on top of that, we just don't know exactly, like, what the hell goes on behind the scenes. We don't. And so when you look at it all in all, though, and of course there's also been a few other people that I follow on Twitter that have basically mentioned that they've even played a few games with Vahn here and there in Call of Duty or whatever else they played, and or even Destiny. I think it was Mr. Hunting Noobs that mentioned this, and he said that Vahn is a genuinely nice guy, like, legitimately, like, the guy, like. So, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt. I actually have no doubt about that. And even on Twitter, as of recently, Vahn has been basically saying, like, I just make the shoes. It's like he was asked, and I'm paraphrasing here, he was asked, like, if he could name, if he could make, like, a clan tag that was really long as opposed to just four letters or something like that. Something of that nature. Like, what would it be? And he said, I just make the shoes. So that's basically, the way I see it is, that's basically his way of just saying, like, hey, I hear you about your complaints about the microtransaction system, but I just make the game. Who knows? I mean, like I said, and like I mentioned with Underdog yesterday when we were playing, like, it only really takes just one person from Activision. It only takes one lift of the finger from Activision to say no, and you guys have to do this, and Treyarch has no choice but to do exactly what the hell Activision wants. Like, so if they want the transaction system to be like a copy and paste of Fortnite, but while including the Activision bullshit, and we know exactly what that is, right? Then they're obligated to do so because Activision told them to. They're the publishers, they get paid by the publisher, and they do or do not have a job by the publisher. So when it comes to that aspect, I mean, everybody, even if you're Vahn, you've got your hands tied, and you can't stand up and say no this, no that. I mean, you do that, you're going to lose your job, or at least close to losing your job, because Vahn does have a really good track record. He is the face of Treyarch, even though Mark Lamy, I believe, is the owner of the studio, but Treyarch is pretty much the face of the Black Ops. Vahn is the face of Treyarch in the Black Ops series. He's the community manager. He's been put in a more leadership position now, obviously, and well deserved. When you look at the man's track record in terms of the Call of Duty games he's produced and the amount of popularity and praise overall that he's gotten, there's no denying that the guy did a great job. And I also wouldn't be surprised if he's tired as fuck right now. I mean, if he's tired physically, mentally, all that stuff in between. And the thing is, when you're constantly being criticized by the community, especially the Call of Duty community nonetheless, of course you're going to keep losing your hair more and more every year. Of course you're going to be getting more and more grays. Of course you're going to be looking older than what you are, because that shit can get to you. So, and on top of that, you have this enormous responsibility of not just being the face of Treyarch and representative of the community to a certain extent, but you've got all the politics and shit that you deal with. And who knows, I am almost willing to bet that a lot of developers that genuinely care, and if everybody that has had experience with Vahn has to say about him, which is all good stuff, for really, I bet he doesn't really care for the politics. The man, I think at the core, the man just wants to make a really good game. He wants to make everybody happy, and he wants to minimize or keep the politics out completely. But unfortunately, you can't do that, because it is Activision we're talking about, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. It comes with the territory, comes with the job, and that's why it makes complete sense that he may want out after this, and I don't blame him. I mean, the guy's done a lot, really. So, all in all, I just wanted to say that overall, I I've got nothing but pretty much good stuff to say about Vahn, you know, except for the part that, you know, obviously the little outburst on Twitter. But hey, we've definitely seen worse in this day and age, right? Whether it comes to YouTube or whether it comes to Twitter, wherever, whether it comes to all sorts of social media streams and stuff like that, we've seen the worst, and we've seen the worst come out of the worst people, and we've seen the worst come out of the best people. So it happens to all of us. I mean, we all lose our shit here and there, and so it's very understandable, especially when you put everything else that I mentioned in this video into play. So Vahn, if there's 1/1000th of a chance that you're watching this, I just wanted to say first and foremost that I understand. And second of all, I just wanted to also say thank you. As a Call of Duty fan that's been playing the game for the last 8 years or so, I just have to say that I've enjoyed Black Ops 1 immensely. Black Ops 2 is my favorite in the entire series to this day. Black Ops 3 was really, really solid. And World at War, I never played, unfortunately, but for the most part, there are people that like it. But you gave us really, really good Call of Duty games. The campaigns were good. I don't know about Black Ops 3, though. A lot of people didn't like that one, but the zombies overall were really good. The multiplayer of those games were really good, and yeah, so thank you. That's what I have to say. Thank you, and I get where you're coming from. When I think about a little bit of everything and the possibilities, and on top of that, the things that I don't know and that we're just speculating on and stuff like that, and also with the community that you're dealing with, it's basically like dealing with a shit ton of hate mail day in and day out when you're playing the game. So after a while, that can get to you. So I completely understand. So yeah, if this is your last go, then thank you for providing us really good Call of Duty games. I know Black Ops 4 didn't turn out exactly probably the way that you wanted from an overall perspective. I know that you're mainly in charge of Blackout. Maybe deep down inside you wish that the multiplayer was a little bit better and people were happier about it, but it is what it is. Things happen the way they happen. You can't really change it. But in terms of Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, thank you for giving us good games. And that's all I got for this one, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And as always, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.